So today I want to look at a game which is an allied attack mode game, which again is pretty much a stomp. But I want to look at it because I feel like some people, when they defend in 2v2s, 3v2s, or 4v4s, they don't quite do it correctly. Now this strategy applies more in 2v2s than it does in like 4v4s, but I think people are overly defensive when they're playing defense. And I think the reason for that is people don't think of defense as a mode or attack as mode as it really should be thought of. And what should be thought of is the second phase of meeting engagement, not like the first phase of an attack mode. So anyway, so what we decide is, what's the advantage you have as a defender when you're defending? It's not that you get more field control, although that is nice to have, but the field control itself is kind of mitigated because the enemy starts with 3 pop bonus over you. So what do you have? Well, you have an initiative bonus, or rather the enemy has an initiative bonus, but they only have an initiative bonus at your behest, right? So if you're defending and decide to stay back, you hand the initiative to the attackers on top of a population bonus. So the attackers have initiative on you, and they have a population bonus on you. However, if you play defensive aggressively, as you can see we're doing here, even though the allies have a pop bonus against us, what does get mitigated is their initiative, because now we're forcing engagement instead of them forcing engagement on us. And through that, we're able to go through here, and we lose for like the exchange of like 2 rifle squads, a Sherman, an ATG, and an M8. We lose like a half track, a couple half tracks I think, and that's it, and maybe a few infantry bodies. And so you got to see here, like, the best way to defend is to attack at the beginning, especially in a 2v2. You can still do it in 3v3. It's a bit more dangerous than a 4v4 due to how large the maps are, and due to the fact that people usually spawn in groups in 4v4 maps, so it's less useful there. But in a 2v2 map where you can identify one spawn, and a 3v3 map where you can usually there's one spawn away from the other two, you can usually 3v1 or 2v1 these people and dictate these engagement in piecemeal. So and the reason we did this in this game is because we did know in Neunen for that spawn they don't spawn the same road like you do in this direction. In the other direction there's 2 different spawns, so that's why we decided to do that. And an important note here is when you do this aggression, it's important that you keep the initiative and you keep holding a midline, frontline sector. So you can see here I've decided to keep these stormtroopers up ahead. Darcy seems to have a different idea here, so that's definitely a misplay by our team, right? Darcy is retreated far too far back right now. He really should be more along the midline as I am right here. Because the thing with early aggression is there's no point in taking part in that early aggression if it doesn't lead to prolonged field control. And let me get back to what I was saying earlier. The way to look in attack mode is not that you're attacking at the beginning of the game. You should look at it as you're counterattacking and immediate engagement 10 minutes into the game, right? How you view attack mode should be like this. Because when you're attacking, you have a population advantage. So but you're kind of attacking into a different field position. So let's say it was an attack mode. What would that mean? What does that translate to? Well, let's say you're playing meeting engagement and you've been dominating for the first 10 minutes. Then finally the enemy team gets their shit together and pushes you back. Thing is, you've already been dominating for 10 minutes. You're getting pushed back towards spawn. So what are that in meeting engagement? What does dominating the first 10 minutes mean? It means you get like 2 to 3 extra pop, which is what attack mode gives you. You get 2 to 3 extra pop. So if you look at attack mode as simply being meeting engagement after you've already been dominating as the attackers, it becomes far less daunting when you think of it in that sense, because that's really what is happening. When you attack in attack mode, you have a population bonus, and you're taking back the field with a population bonus. So if you even get a halfway, if you only get half field control, even 45% field control, as an attacker, you're still way fucking ahead because you've got a 3-point pop bonus, right? A 3-point pop bonus is equal to dominating a game for about the first 10 minutes in meeting engagement or plus. So I think people don't take advantage of that, and so it actually is important as a defender. You have to be aggressive, because if you're not aggressive, you're giving up field control and pop controls and initiative because of that. So again, big mistake here. So we still have reasonable control in the town just from scaring them off. Because Darcy went so far back in the open field, the attacking team has already got reasonable field control, right? They've got plus 0.47, so that's not majority. But you remember, the attackers already have a 3-point pop advantage. So even though they don't have majority field control, being this close to 50-50 means they're beating us right now. The attackers right now are beating us, despite the attrition loss in the early attack. And that's the one thing, though. even if in this case, because we were aggressive at the beginning, even though we've ceded field control for, as far as I can tell, no real reason, um, we still at least have an attrition advantage in the long term. And you can see here again, so again, we're defending, but you can see me. I'm like, okay, Darson's left the field alone. We have to get this field back, so I'm going to push Storms into this field, and hopefully Darson will follow up at some point, which is what I'm hoping, and he does end up following up. So again, once again, even though they're defending, we're still pushing, we're still pushing, we're still pushing. And here's a jumbo, so we got to find a way to use jumbo. Probably going to reposition our units. But again, that's the thing. When you're defending, it's super, super, super important to not actually defend when you're defending. If you go into Axis Allied Defense and you're on the defending team, if you decide the only thing you're going to do is defend, you're going to lose the game 100%. Because all you're doing is giving a team that already has a population advantage over you, you're giving them an initiative advantage. You cannot allow that to happen when you're defending. You must be aggressive in your defense, unless you already clearly outclass the attacking team in terms of player skill individually. So again, you see here, we got field control and we decided we're not going to push too far. Instead, we're going to push to the right into the town, give them a different angle. And again, we're just trying to keep forcing these engagements, because the mistake the attacking team is making here actually is that they're trying to push the entire front at once. That's not really what you need to do. You need to just make a front. That MG in the house in the town is really all you needed there. You can leave that alone and then move and push the field with the jumbo or something like that. You can see I mismicroed here with this ATG. Should have taken shots at this jumbo far earlier. But I think this jumbo's going to eat a lot of house shots right now. And yeah, it's going to eat like 3 house shots. Probably going to die. If not, the martyr should finish off. Yeah, there you go. And so again, we're keeping aggressive here. And, just because of that. And here's another thing. There's a psychological effect to being aggressive as an attacker, right? Because people don't understand how attack mode actually works, people don't understand that when you're attacking, you have an advantage. It's better to attack than it is to defend in a majority of cases. Less so in a 4v4. A 4v4 defense probably does have the advantage, but in a 2v2 especially, attacking is the better mode to be playing, right? In a 2v2, if you're attacking, you should be winning more than 50% of your games if you're attacking in a 2v2. A 3v3 is a bit more even. It's still attacker-sided in a 3v3. And a 4v4, I would say it's defender-sided because you have so much time as defenders to set up your engagements as defenders in a 4v4. And there's so much more ground to cover as well. So getting that ground back on attack is a bit tougher. But in a 2v2, the pop-up bonus far outstrips the early field control that you can gain in 2v2. Because it's really easy to gain back map control in 2v2 games. And so, but because people don't understand that attacking is an advantage in 2v2s and 3v3s, there's a morale effect that comes into this too. So if you can win those kind of early engagements by pushing the attacking team in spots and times they don't expect you to be attacking, right? A lot of attacking teams feel entitled to the fact that they're the aggressors, right? And if you can remove that sense of entitlement that the attacking team has, it can have a psychological effect that makes them think they're losing the game even when they really are not losing that badly. And so again, so you can see here area surrendered basically 7 minutes into the game, and the attacking team says they're done. Even though we've lost a lot, they had reasonable field control. They probably had more pop than us, or at least at the worst case scenario, they probably had an even pop to us because I'm playing Blitzkrieg, so I do have the pop bonus. But despite all that, the game's over now. 7 minutes in, and the game is over in a 2v2, and it's awfully fast. That's because if you're defending, if you're not aggressive in your defense in a 2v2, you're gonna lose the game because in a 2v2, attacking is the better mode, and it's pretty rare unless there's a clear disparity in the team balance. Attackers should be winning a majority of the games that play in 2v2s. It's just a fact. Anyways, this game's winding down. We'll see a couple more jumbos coming out. I don't know if I can probably skip ahead to the score screen at this point, but the game's over at this point. And that's just the point I want to make. If it's a 2v2 and 3v3 to a lesser extent, but still there, when you're defending, you shouldn't just defend. If you're defending, it just makes no sense. You have to treat attack and defense not as attack and defense. You have to treat it as a meeting engagement, right? Just a meeting engagement that's like 10 minutes into the game, right? So if it's a meeting engagement and you're 10 minutes into the game and the other, let's say you're the defending team, right? If you treat it as a meeting engagement, what's really happened is the opponent has been dominating you for 10 minutes. You finally gain back field control. What do you do when you gain back field control? You consolidate and then you push. You keep pushing, right? You want to push them as close to spawn as possible. If you're so that's how you have to treat defense, right? Defense is just 10 minutes into a meeting engagement where you just pulled back field control, right? The opponent team has pop advantage over you, so how do you negate that pop advantage? You push them to so they can't give it back, or you gain more pop than they do. You just have to push. That's just so you treat it. Defense is really just a prolonged meeting engagement, and you have to treat it like that, because if you don't, you cede so many advantages to the attacker in 2v2. So that's what I want to say. We'll skip through this probably. You'll get to see the score screen, and attack is no bueno. Again, that's a psychological effect. People don't realize how strong attacking is in 2v2s, and because they don't realize how strong it is, psychological advantage you gain from attacking them early as defenders, it removes their sense of entitlement, and once that sense of entitlement is gone, people tend to stop playing. And once people stop playing, they're gonna lose, because EIRR is hard. If you don't keep your micro up, if you don't keep your pop up, if you don't keep your positioning up, you're gonna lose a game of EIRR. And a lot of EIRR is mental. So if anything else, even if your initial attack doesn't even go as well as our attack did in this game, it still makes them have to think, and still makes them feel they're behind, even if they're not.